Acquire resources is the process of obtaining team members, facilities, equipment, materials, supplies, and other resources necessary to complete project work. The key benefit of this process is that it outlines and guides the selection of resources and assigns them to their respective activities. This process is performed periodically throughout the project as needed. The resources needed for the project can be internal or external to the project performing organization. Internal resources are acquired or assigned from functional or resource managers. External resources are acquired through the procurement processes. The project management team may or may not have direct control over resource selection because of collective bargaining agreements, use of subcontractor personnel, a matrix project environment, internal or external reporting relationships, or other reasons. It is important that the following factors are considered during the process of acquiring the project resources. The project manager or project team should effectively negotiate and influence others who are in a position to provide the required team and physical resources for the project. Failure to acquire the necessary resources for the project may affect project schedules, budgets, customer satisfaction, quality, and risks. Insufficient resources or capabilities decrease the probability of success and, in a worst-case scenario, could result in project cancellation. If the team resources are not available due to constraints, such as economic factors or assignment to other projects, the project manager or project team may be required to assign alternative resources, perhaps with different competencies or costs. Alternative resources are allowed provided there is no violation of legal, regulatory, mandatory, or other specific criteria. These factors should be considered and accounted for in the planning stages of the project. The project manager or project management team will be required to document the impact of the unavailability of required resources in the project schedule, project budget, project risks, project quality, training plans, and other project management plans. In this lecture, we will focus on the inputs, tools, techniques, and outputs to this process of acquiring resources. Let's identify them first and discuss them in coming slides. As part of inputs, we have the components of project management plan, such as resource management plan, procurement management plan and cost baseline, project documents such as project schedule, resource calendars, resource requirements and stakeholder register. The enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets. As part of tools, techniques, we have the decision-making technique, such as multi-criteria decision analysis, interpersonal and team skills such as negotiation, pre-assignment and virtual teams. As part of outputs, we have the physical resource assignments, project team assignments, resource calendars, change requests, project management plan updates such as resource management plan and cost baseline, project documents updates such as lessons learned register, project schedule, resource breakdown structure, resource requirements, risk register and stakeholder register, the enterprise environmental factors updates, and finally, organizational process assets updates. Let's discuss the inputs to the acquire resources process. Project management plan components include resource management plan. The resource management plan provides guidance on how to acquire resources for the project. Procurement management plan. The procurement management plan has information regarding resources that will be acquired from outside the project. This includes information on how procurements will be integrated with other project work and stakeholders involved in procuring resources. Cost baseline. The cost baseline provides the overall budget for the project activities. Project documents that can be considered as inputs for this process include project schedule. The project schedule shows the activities and their planned start and end dates to help determine when the resources need to be available and acquired. Resource calendars. Resource calendars document the time periods that each resource needed for the project is available for the project. Creating a reliable schedule depends on having a good understanding of each resource's availability and schedule constraints, including time zones, work hours, vacation time, local holidays, maintenance schedule, and commitments to other projects. Resource calendars are progressively elaborated and updated throughout the project. Once created as an output of this process, they are used as needed whenever this process is repeated. Resource requirements. Resource requirements identify which resources need to be acquired. Stakeholder register. The stakeholder register may reveal stakeholders' needs or expectations for specific resources to be used on the project that need to be considered in the acquire resources process. The enterprise environmental factors that can influence the acquire resources process include existing information on organizational resources, including availability, competence levels, and prior experience for team resources and resource costs. Marketplace conditions, organizational structure, and geographic locations. The organizational process assets that can influence the acquire resources process include policies and procedures for acquiring, allocating, and assigning resources to the project, and historical information and lessons learned repository.